Welcome back. Imagine this scenario, if you would, please. A group of hot male strippers from the big city, Seattle, descend upon a tiny little cow town here in the Northwest. Well, that recently happened to Ephrata, and our cameras were along to capture all the action and reaction.
Whether it's the chips or the chunks, male strippers raise eyebrows and temperatures on national talk shows and in big cities. But what happens when they hit the small time?
Male strippers are coming to town? Oh, really? I did not know that.
Male strippers?
And you're afraid of? Oh, boy. I don't know that it'll go over all that well.
Well, that remains to be seen. Seattle's BodyTalk is about to show the women of this small farming community how to really sow some wild oats.
Showtime? We're here to tear it up.
And that's a look at the livestock and the pork for this morning. It's just after 7, and I'm Brian Jones. As far as the people of Ephrata, I would put most of us in the category of being pretty conservative, like cattle hogs.
Brian Jones is the only DJ at the only radio station in Ephrata.
Market pork futures managed a moderate bounce off of last week's lows. Cash trade did manage to pull out of its snout dive, recovering.
When he isn't reporting on the plummeting price of pork, Brian does a call-in show. And when it comes to the subject of male strippers, it's a classic battle of the sexes.
A lot of the guys would call up and they'd say, oh, there's, no way in HE double hockey sticks my wife's going to go to that thing. And then there was the women who say, I think it's great, it's about time. There's always so much stuff for the men to do, but there's never anything for the women.
And according to Brian, male stripping sure beats the usual entertainment in Ephrata.
Bringing a lawn chair downtown, and sometimes it gets a little crowded, you have to pick up and move, but we like to sit around and watch the stoplights change. On just about any given night, you could roll a bowling ball up and down the main street and not have to worry about hitting anybody or anything, except maybe a stray passing dog.
But still, the burning question remains. Beneath the sleepy surface of Ephrata, are the women here wild and crazy?
Oh boy, at the risk of being tarred and feathered. I would say behind closed doors they are, but if you get them out on the street or ask them to say on the radio that they're wild and crazy, I'd say they'd say no.
Male strippers?
I don't know yet. They're fun. I don't know.
Male strippers?
Kind of nervous, kind of excited. I'm excited. I'm not on TV, am I?
A lot of the girls, they don't get out to the bigger cities.
I'm not on TV, am I?
Sherry Clampett is the coordinator of tonight's show.
It lets them relax. It lets them use their imagination, I suppose, but mostly it just gives them a chance to get away from their regular routine of life, I guess.
I love this job.
One more time, Ephrata. Are you ready to get these guys up here and do the wild thing?
Well, it's definitely ladies' night, and the mood is right. The show starts out tame enough. But it isn't long before clothes and inhibitions are stripped.
We're there to perform for the women, to make sure that they have a good time. And as long as they're having a good time, I'm having a great time.
This is a no liquor show, so that means the gentlemen can come out into the audience in their tea bags.
After each individual act, the dancer goes into the crowd wearing only the bare essential and collects tips. And this woman is definitely putting her money where her mouth is.
Crowd, ho, 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 crazy, but I love it.
And believe it or not, there's something in all this for the men who aren't invited.
It improves their husbands and their boyfriends' sex life, I think.
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, we've get letters from the guys saying, hey, thanks, I don't know what you did to my wife, but hey, keep on doing it.
And judging from these women, it won't be long before big city strippers are invited back to small town America.
It's delicious.
It's wonderful. Not something you'd ever want to miss. Something that you definitely want to go see again and again and again and again and again.
That's the way I like it. That's the way I like it.
Well, the guys have another small-town gig coming up. They'll be hitting the town of Forks, a little timber community out on the Olympic Peninsula. Mark your calendars, October 15th. If you want more information about the dancers, call the Evening Magazine hotline. That number, 442-2800, extension 5466. Up next, we'll tell you about all the wonderful seasonal activities taking place here at Remlinger Farms.